He's got bad knees and doesn't have time for this shit. Hey y'all, so we are going to jump into my top 10 favorite characters of 2020. Now I know we talked about my top 10 favorite books, and I do have some of the same books in here, obviously, but I did kind of have to combine some things and move stuff around. So I don't have them in any particular order, but I will start with the honorable mentions first. So my honorable mentions are actually from The Wheel of Time. I feel like I can't move them to the top 10 yet, because I only have 2 of the 14 books under my belt right now. So I feel like it's really early in their character arcs, and anything could happen, honestly, with the way these books have been going. So I'm going to hold off on having like an official character list that includes Wheel of Time characters, because so many things can happen, but I will do something special regarding just Wheel of Time characters in the near future once I get some more of these books under my belt. So the honorable mentions from Wheel of Time are going to be Nynaeve, Perrin, and Loyal. I love all 3 of these characters for very different reasons. Nynaeve is very strong-willed, and she has some false pride, but she is also very capable, so it's not exactly false pride. She does know that she is very capable in her strengths, and she doesn't really tend to acknowledge her weaknesses, and she has a definite anger problem, and I relate to having an anger problem, so I still like that about her character, and I can't wait to see where she goes. Now, Loyal is an Ogier from The Wheel of Time, and he is absolutely precious. I feel like a lot of times he is there to provide magical information whenever we as readers may not fully understand something, and he can kind of explain it to us. But he is really funny in his way, and he's very gentle, and I just really enjoy his character. I like that he tags along, and he does add some, you know, roundedness to the story, and the characters really are growing to enjoy his company, and it's nice to see him kind of grow, and I can't wait to see where this entire series takes him either, because he just has so many opportunities and options, and his life right now in the stories is completely different than how he and his people grew up, and I just love their point of view with these stories. So Perrin is also on my honorable mentions. I really like his power and what he can do with it so far, and he just seems like a very stand-up guy. He takes care of his friends. He doesn't ever forget his loyalty. He just wants to help everybody, even though he's having his own personal conflictions with what is happening to him and in the world as a whole. And I just can really stand by that character, and I once again just can't wait to see where he goes. So I know I don't have these in any particular order, but I am going to go ahead and start talking about Kelsier from Mistborn Era 1. He's a character that tends to use humor as a defense mechanism. I think he truly stands up for something, and as the leader of this group, he really does pull everybody together, use everybody's strengths, and he compensates for their weaknesses as well, just like a true leader would. And I think he does an excellent job of pulling everyone together. Like I said, he's just someone that you can really rally behind. When he talks about his beliefs, about how the world should be, you want to follow him, you believe him, you agree with him that it shouldn't be this way, and that you can do something about it. And I found him really compelling, and I truly enjoy him as a character, because it's not something that you really see a whole lot, where he stands up for something. He stands up for a belief and empowerment and other people, despite his own situation, despite his own shortcomings and his own losses, and he overcomes them even with his own character flaws. And I don't know, he's just really compelling, and he does an excellent job in this series. So I'll just go ahead and keep the book up, because the second person I'm going to talk about is Vin, and she is another character. She's very young, but she has had a hard life, and she wants to make something of herself, but in reality, she just wants to survive, and that's what she has to focus on for the majority of her childhood. And even in the, part of this series is she's focusing on survival. She still has that mindset, and I think watching her grow as a person and become sure of herself and just grow in her own power, her own abilities, and her relationships with these other characters. I truly enjoyed her as a character as well. She is very respectful of others, and while she struggles sometimes with other people's shortcomings, she does learn how to overcome that as well, and maybe even pick up the slack in some cases. She shoulders a lot of responsibility and handles it very well, and I enjoy her character too. So for the next character, I actually listened to it on audio, but that is Renfrey from The Last Witch, which is part of the short stories in the Witcher series. So Renfrey, honestly, if I had to pick a number one character, it might be Renfrey. She's only in a short story, and that is what truly surprises me about this character, just how much she gripped me and how much I think about her all the time. I think about her character a lot, and I don't want to tell her story too much because like I said, it is a short story. It is in The Last Witch. But as a character, she just has so much drive and perseverance, and she has a goal and she goes for it, and she's unapologetic about it, and she is just such a powerful, strong woman that I wish I was more like her. She is amazing, and I'm sure you guys know that I've had my struggles with the Witcher series. I'm still on technically the first novel after the 2 short story collections. And honestly, I think if the stories were about Renfrey, I would have already read them by now. I loved her character so much, and I wish we had more of her. We're going to go back to the Mistborn Era 1 series for a little bit because I forgot to talk about Tinsoon. Now, Tinsoon is a character that I don't know how you would feel about him, but you feel one way, and then in probably about the span of 10 pages, you feel completely differently. And I just love the way his character was written, and he is just somebody, like I said, it's so hard to talk about him without spoilers. But Tinsoon is someone who just sneaks up on you, and when things start happening, my feelings were just so strong when he became involved and what happened. It was so well done. I loved the character. I loved how Brandon Sanderson just pulled him out and revealed him in small pieces in a way, but also just all at once in a way. And it was just very well done, and he might actually be number 2 after Renfrey, to be honest. I love his character so much. So number 5 is going to be Veritas from Malice. Now, I will be honest, I have not finished the series, so I don't know how his character develops after this, but he is a character that stuck with me once I read Malice. Malice was also one of my top 10 books because I just loved it, and Veritas is one of the reasons why I feel like Malice was so elevated for me. Veritas's loyalty is something to be admired. Veritas is very capable and strong, very skillful, and he has dignity that even in certain situations, you can't deny that he is someone who also stands up for something, and he is loyal in his beliefs and his friendships, and he's such a strong character, and I want to see where he goes in the rest of the series. I don't know if he does or not, to be honest. So I really worry about his character for certain reasons, and I think about him a lot as well. He has so many great qualities, and I want to see how he handles some of these situations that were unfolding in Malice that were already kind of beginning to unfold. I want to see how he holds up in Valor and onwards, hopefully, and I'm excited about it. Okay, so the 6th person that I'm going to talk about is technically a duo because I couldn't choose. Royce and Hadrian are the 2 main characters in this book, Theft of Swords, the part of the Ryaria Revelations, and I couldn't pick just one of them because honestly, they elevate each other as a duo. That's kind of the point. Their friendship is the point. Royce, I think he might edge out over Hadrian just a little bit because Royce also hates everybody, which I relate to, and he likes to kill everybody that he hates, which I also relate to. So it's one of those things where Royce is very hilarious. He has good quips and comebacks, remarks. Hadrian also has good comebacks and remarks, but he kind of keeps Royce in check, and the way he does that is very hilarious as well. So I feel like their personalities really feed off each other, and if one of them were by themselves, they're not quite as funny and witty as they are when they're together. So that's why I kind of bundled them together. But just, I laughed the whole way through this book. So great, and I can't wait to continue the series either. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Falkio from The Greatcoats. And Sebastian de Castell's writing style is very interesting. In the series, we're actually reading it from Falkio's point of view. It is like a first-person point of view, and he's talking to us as the reader. So he kind of breaks that fourth wall a little bit, which I kind of like. I like that tongue-in-cheek. And Falkio is another character similar to Kelsier and Veritas, so clearly I have a type here, but he also stands for something. He has morals and principles, and he is going to stand by them, and he does have his struggles, but you know, at the end of the day, he does what he can. He deals with all of the bullshit that he has to deal with and handles it remarkably well. I don't know, he really does pull the story together. He pulls the other characters that are involved together, and he's very clever. He has a lot of these plans that most of the time you kind of figure. He actually just comes out and tells you sometimes, I don't have a plan, but everybody else believes he does. But sometimes he really does have a plan, and sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't, and his reactions to that really just speak to him as a character, and I like his humor as well. So I might as well go ahead and keep this up because I have another kind of duo together like I did with Theft of Swords, which may be cheating a little bit. I know I'm pushing these rules, but I also really love Brasti and Kest. They are the other two of the trio with Falkio. I kind of lumped them together because, once again, their characters do stand apart. They do have, unlike, well, I don't want to say unlike Royce and Hadrian, because there are some situations where they are separate and are still very good and hold their own. But I will say that Brasti and Kest stand alone for a longer period of time than what Royce and Hadrian do. So they are their own separate characters with their own separate personalities, but they do feed off of each other and their humor, just like Royce and Hadrian as well. So I love their humor and the way they feed off each other. They kind of give each other a hard time, but at the end of the day, they are still ultimately loyal. They love each other. They love Falkio. They would do almost anything for him, and I feel like that they also kind of hold true to themselves. They hold true to these beliefs and these principles that at the end of the day, when evil is trying to take over, that is almost all you have. And I can really just, sometimes when I think about it, these books, the Greatcoat Saga, it's a series, and I haven't talked about it too much, but you really just kind of buy into it. You know, you really just go in whole heart, and he just does a great job in writing their friendships and them as characters. So now we're going to talk about Clay Cooper from Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. And he is one of my favorites because Clay Cooper is an older man who is kind of being drugged back into this situation by his friend. And I really relate to him because he's kind of just one of those grumpy old men that just wants to be left alone. He wants to live out his life. He's got bad knees and doesn't have time for this shit. And I feel that on a personal level. So he cracks me up, but once again, at the end of the day, he is someone that you can count on. He is dependable, very capable, and despite having bad knees, he does what he can to come through for you. And I just loved his character. I love following him and seeing him deal with these situations and witness his other band members. It's nice to actually have a character That's not like a young adult. That's not a coming of age type character situation. He is older. He's had his prom. He is no longer in his heyday. And I kind of feel like that in my life sometimes. You know, I'm past my prime. I have bad knees. I've got anger issues and I want people to get off my lawn. I don't know. It was really comforting to read about him. I guess that's what I'm getting at. It was a comforting read. Now, this one's going to be a bit of a surprise because I think just about everybody hates him. Even people that like this book hate this guy. And that guy is Tao from Rage of Dragons. I love Tao. I think he is a great character. He is the exact opposite of Clay Cooper. He is very young. He's volatile. He's angry. He has revenge plans. And he's also got a flair for the dramatic. And I think sometimes, you know, I've seen a lot of booktubers and other people that I talk with on Discord, you know, they say that he makes bad decisions. He absolutely does. Terrible, terrible decisions, Tao. But I can also see what he's going for. Sometimes he has a flair for the dramatic and he wants things to, if it was the real world, people would say that he wants to get like a movie moment, is kind of how I look at it. He wants some satisfaction sometimes, and so he will make bad decisions, sometimes at the detriment to others, to try to take his revenge, play out a certain, I don't know, scenario that he feels would be satisfying to get his revenge. And he is absolutely determined. Talk about a character who won't stop because he's not done. He's not done, and so he doesn't stop. He talks so much shit and I find it funny. I find it funny how much shit he talks, and sometimes he has no room to talk shit and he does it anyway. And I liked his character, even though most of the time you're sitting there just saying, Tao, what are you doing? What are you doing? But that makes for a compelling character. It makes for a great character. Just because you don't agree with what they do or think they're stupid, sometimes it still makes for a great character. Other times it doesn't, but I feel like Evan Winter really did a great job with his character, and I am just super excited to get to the Fires of Vengeance because I want to see where he goes and how he develops, because like I said, he is very young and I think there's more here. So there you have it. Technically my top 12 characters, but I listed them as 10. But let me know what you think about these characters, especially Tao. Are you someone that hates Tao? Let me know why, and we'll talk about it. Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and as always, you all are as good as gold. Y'all take care.